darling, we are back. This is another installment of Empowered Esquire TV. I am your host, which you probably already know that, but hey, just in case you didn't, I am the Empowered Esquire, also known as Felicia Pearson. So listen, I know it's been a second. Life happens. As I often tell you all on this channel, lawyers have lives. And as much as I love you all, I'm not a YouTuber, right? That's not my career. So things happen. But listen, we're back. Now there's a storm. There was some thunder and some lightning and some activity. And then I think there's a storm coming. So you already know that my internet is going to be sketch. So I'm going to give this the best I can, right? But if we really cannot do this effectively, then we may have to push this. All right. So give me a 1 in the chat if you can currently hear me. If you can hear me, give me a 1 in the chat. Hello to Girl Next Door. Hello to I Am Queen. How are you, Queen? And shout out to OCOV fam. Shout out to Diva Divine Light and Rev Fat Boy. And I know I'm missing some people, but shout out to the whole OCOV. I love y'all. Okay, everyone says they can hear me. Wonderful. Good. Because on my end, StreamYard is saying that my internet connectivity is unstable. So good to know that at least on your end, you can hear me. And we're going to keep it moving. Now, let me tell y'all my tale of woe before we dive into this. And I want to mention, we had an episode where I kind of started out with my tale of woe. This was a long time ago. And would y'all believe somebody tried me, messaging me, talking about, well, I don't really care about what you're going through. I don't really want to hear, oh, it's a long intro. Can you get to the topic? I said, excuse me? Excuse me. Some folks are so lacking in empathy. I'm telling you, you got to be mindful out here because some of these folks out here are so lacking in empathy for others that they cannot even tune into a video and listen to someone speaking about their experience for a couple minutes. The nerve, right? The nerve. All right, so I'm in the chat. Hello to Levon Says. Y'all check out his channel. He has an awesome channel. Hello to Royalty85. Hello to Les Meets. Hello to Mara Charisse, one of my faves. Hello to Queen Enchanted. Hello to Swan X. Hello to Mo Light and Love. Hello to Karen Johnson. Hello to Kimberly Callahan. Kimberly, how sweet of you to ask me. I am wonderful. I am blessed. I am amazing. How are you, Kimberly? And my allergies are better, by the way. If you've been following the community tab and you heard that tale of woe with the allergies, oh my goodness. But I'm doing better now. Hello to Aisha and hello to Mo Light and Love. Yeah, some folks, no empathy. So listen, as you can see from the title, we have a lot to discuss. All right, we've got Bill Cosby losing this lawsuit, which, listen, this is monumental, okay? Then we've got R.Kelly being sentenced, also very monumental. And then we have Roe v. Wade, also very monumental. So this has been a very active past couple weeks. I think we can all agree on that. But I will tell you this. If you're feeling anxious in this time, if you're feeling, that the world is headed in a direction that makes you feel unsure, don't. Okay, take 10 deep breaths and realize that, again, many of these things that you may think are going to affect your everyday life actually may not. Okay. All right, so we're going to dive into Cosby first. Karen Johnson here supporting me. She said, just rude. If they don't want to hear you speak, they can always leave. I mean, that's what I was thinking. And mind you, when he posted his little message to me, I thought to myself, wow, the nerve of you to say that. And then there was a young lady who had a similar message. So I thought to myself, wow, so you're really on my channel, not caring about me as a person at all. All you care about is me being a content creator robot that gives you content for you to listen to. You could care less about me as a person. And you think that's something that you should be proud of. That's something you should be contacting me in regards to. I mean, but listen, these are the times. These are the times. Kimberly Callahan says, everyone needs to be checked in on every once in a while. Oh, even awesome people like you. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you very much. Thank you. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. It's been quite a busy, I'd say, past 2, 3 months for me with life, work, family, everything. And so I really have been squeezing out time for YouTube whenever I can, y'all. I mean, and I've considered just giving up on YouTube because I've said I just don't have the time. But every time I say that, I say to myself, no, I made a commitment to our community and I'm going to keep it going. Hello to First Lady A. All right, so I purposely dragged out our introductory chat um, to be petty to those who will come on here and complain about us having pleasantries. If you don't like it, you can go. All right, so I've pulled up some videos for us to watch that kind of delve into how we got to the place that we are at currently with Bill Cosby. Now, if you are totally unfamiliar with this case, remember I did a live in which I covered this case. I'm going to add that video to the description box. Okay, so you can go back and watch it. And we talk in detail about her lawsuit against Bill Cosby. I cannot remember her name at the moment, but we'll get there. We talk in depth about her lawsuit. We actually go through the paperwork that she filed, her actual complaint, and we really discuss the main thing that makes her lawsuit so different, right? So, in case you forgot, this woman is the first woman to allege in a lawsuit that she was SA'd by Bill Cosby when she was a minor. So this is what makes this case so different from all the others, because this woman alleged that she was only 16 years old. Okay, so big difference there. Okay, so let me go ahead and open. I got 2 videos for you. Let me mute myself so you don't hear them yet. Y'all, thank goodness for the mute button. If only you all could hear me as I'm playing my intro and like singing along to the instrumental like a maniac. It's a good thing that the mute button exists. We're just gonna say that. Okay, so here we go. Let's watch this.
Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby sexually assaulted a 16-year-old girl at the Playboy Mansion in 1975. That's the verdict that was just announced from jurors in a civil trial in California. They found Cosby intentionally caused harmful sexual contact with Judy Huth. Jurors determined Cosby knew she was a minor at the time, but still pursued her. The jury awarded Huth $500,000. Cosby attorney and publicist continued to deny the accusation. The verdict comes nearly a year after authorities released Bill Cosby from prison after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court threw out a separate criminal conviction for sexual assault. Shepard Smith here.
All right, I have one more video for you. Sit tight.
A California civil jury has found that Bill Cosby sexually assaulted a teen in 1975 at the Playboy Mansion when she was 16 years old. He's now been ordered to pay the woman, Judy Huff, $500,000 in damages.
Cosby was released from prison last year after a 2018 conviction stemming from another case was overturned. Speaking to reporters yesterday, Huff described her emotions at the court's verdict.
It's been torture. It has, just to be ripped apart, thrown under the bus, backed over. And this to me is such a big victory. It really is. To all victims. I mean it.
NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalas joins us now for more on this. Hey, Danny, thanks for being with us. So walk us through this civil trial and tell us what the main findings of the jury were here.
So in this case, the jury did not award punitive damages, which are meant to punish a defendant. Instead, they awarded compensatory damages of $500,000. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, but when you consider the amount of time that a plaintiff's firm puts into this, I have no doubt this would be a pretty good payday for your run-of-the-mill ham and egg or plaintiff's attorney shop. But for Gloria Allred's firm, this was not one of their major verdicts of the year, I have no doubt. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Yes, the plaintiff won, but they didn't win all that much.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. I mean, Cosby's spokesperson says the actor plans to appeal this decision. He also spoke after the verdict. Let's hear what he said.
What happened today wasn't a victory. They didn't get the punitive damages. The victory was ours because we got to disclose and show what this woman was all about.
So he's described this as a victory for Cosby because the payout was less than the $8 million that was sought by Huff's attorney. Do you know exactly why the payout was that low?
No, because juries, in a case like this, the juries don't have what we call boardable damages. This is not like a car crash where you can say, okay, here's a torn rotator cuff. This is how much it's going to cost to repair that and a lifetime of therapy. With cases like this, and the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case is a similar example. You don't really have tangible things to show a jury. They're literally plucking numbers out of the air. So whatever it is the jury decided in that room, they decided that they believed Judith Huff for some reason and that they would only award $500,000 in damages. Now, again, that may be a jury that thought, hey, $500,000 is a lot of money. Or maybe they were sending a message that, look, we believe you, but this is many years ago. We may have seen some inconsistencies. These are the damages we're awarding as a result. It's really hard to say unless some of the jurors come forward and say something.
All right, Danny Savalas, as always, we appreciate your expertise. Thanks for being with us.
All right, y'all. So listen, we now have a good introduction into the conversation we are about to have about Bill Cosby and this verdict. So as you heard, he was found, quote unquote, liable, right? Civil liability. So this is not a criminal case. Okay. But it was found that there was enough evidence to support that he did SA Judy Huff, I believe is her name, when she was 16 years old. Now, Judy was requesting, as you heard, millions of dollars, but she was only awarded $500,000. And as you accurately heard, that is because the jury did not issue punitive damages, okay? They only issued compensatory damages, which are damages that are meant to kind of, exactly how it sounds, right? Compensate the victim for what they experienced and the injury that stems from that. So now with Judy Huff, if you remember when we spoke about her case, she detailed that she goes through psychological trauma, that she has to receive psychological treatment, that her relationship with her husband and her son is affected by the psychological state and the psychological damage caused by the incident, right? So all of those things added to why Judy Huff was granted damages, okay? Now, let's have a conversation about, as Cosby's spokesperson was saying, whether or not this was really a victory, okay? So, $500,000 is not much to a man like Cosby, okay? So financially, will he really be experiencing much of a hit from this case? Probably not. And the attorney that was speaking in the video that we watched, which, by the way, fair use, it's in the video description. But the attorney that was speaking in the video that we watched, he made a good point. He said, you have to remember that plaintiffs' firms, they invest a lot of money into this kind of case. So let me tell you all what happens with this kind of case. This kind of case comes into a firm and they immediately assign a more senior attorney, maybe a partner, who oversees everything and acts as the face of the case. Then they assign one or two junior attorneys who do the legwork of the case, the writing, the research, the grunt work. Then they assign one or two paralegals who do the filing, the watching of case status, the case notifications, the scheduling of depositions. So notice how many people I just listed. This kind of case has a lot of expenditure. So 500,000 may be the attorney's fees in this case, right? That may be, and mind you, we do not know if she was also granted separate attorney's fees in addition to damages, right? We're not aware of that. And if she was, that would be wonderful, because if she was not granted separate attorney's fees, then we know that 500,000 is going to be significantly dwindled. All right, I'm going to hop in the chat and say hello to some folks. Hello to Diva Divine Light. Diva says, like this video, okay? Thumbs up the video and subscribe to the channel. I, of course, agree with Diva. And Diva, how are you? How have you been? Love you, miss you, all that good stuff. Hello to Tone Bella. Hello to PETA. Hello to SK. I think I said hi to Empress Kaya. Hello to Take R.Kelly. How's it going? Take R.Kelly says, sometimes it's not about the money, it's about the principle. Good point. Yes. I think this case was a big win for the victims in that they've established a precedent, right? The principle that was established here works for them. However, we know that the money probably won't, it won't change her life any, more than likely. Mara Cherise says, I know I'm in the minority here, but I don't think there should be a statute of limitations on SA, as the damage is lifelong. Well, let's talk about that. There was someone in the comments here, someone in the chat, who was saying, well, isn't there some limit? And this was years ago. And remember, we discussed this when we first covered this lawsuit. So if you're confused on why Miss Huff was still permitted to sue Bill Cosby all these years later, go back to my videos and go back to the first video in which we discussed this lawsuit. Hello to Naps. Y'all, Nappy Yankee has rebranded, right? Like the branding and marketing genius he is, right? He's rebranded. And so it's no longer Nappy Yankee, it's Naps. And I approve. I like the new name. What's up to DJ Dom Money? Are you a DJ for real? DJ Dom Money, are you really a DJ? Inquiring minds want to know. And Nappy Yankee has posted the Cash App. If you feel so inclined to send me a few bucks so I can buy some Claritin D and continue to stave off my allergies, that would be awesome. Hello to Rockin' with the Truth. I think I already said hi to Aisha. All right. Take R.Kelly says that don't lawyers always get a portion of the settlement? It depends on the agreement. It depends on the fee agreements. Yes, they can still get a portion of the settlement, but she may have also been awarded attorney's fees. It depends on the fee agreement. All right. Divine Light says, how are you? Oh, well, I'm glad you stood with them, Diva. I'm glad y'all did it. Kudos to, listen, Diva doesn't just talk the talk. She walks the walk, man. Kudos to you, Diva. DJ Dom Money is a DJ for real, y'all. Contact him. Hello, Terry the Notary Public. Hello, Sheree Hinger. You finally made a live. Woo! Shout out to Sheree Hinger. Thank you for finally making a live, gorgeous. We're happy to have you. All right, y'all. So Here's what I really want to know. What do you all think about this Bill Cosby lawsuit? Do you think that this gives some validity to all of the women who have been saying that, Bill Cosby, I already used the word, didn't I? No, maybe I didn't use the word. To all of the women that have been saying that Bill Cosby was inappropriate with them, to the women who allege that Bill Cosby had been inappropriate with them when they were a minor. Give me a 1 in the chat if you think this lawsuit result, this ruling, is vindicating for them. Give me a 2 in the chat if you think it won't make a difference. You'll still have people questioning whether or not these accusations are part of like some big Illuminati takedown. Mara Cherie said, Diva in the streets, in the streets, in the streets, DA streets. All right, so give me a 1 in the chat if you think that this ruling and this lawsuit will make a difference in the lives of victims, that victims will finally be treated with respect and like women of credibility. Give me a 2 in the chat if you think it will not make a difference. You will still have people who will allege that the Illuminati is trying to take Bill Cosby down, and that is where all of these accusations are coming from. All right, looks like we have some. Okay, we got mostly 1s. I see some 2s. I see First Lady with a 2. Kimberly, 1.5. I just love my EETV family. Y'all just make up your own numbers. You do whatever you like. Mostly 1s, mostly 1. Okay, Truth Strong, shout out to OCOV. Truth Strong says that Truth Strong's vote is 2. Swan X is voting 2 as well. Terry, the Notary Public, why are you abstaining? Why are you, Terry? We don't want you to abstain. We would like to hear your opinion. Diva said, Bongine did her job, but she deserves more. Bongine does do her job, okay? Hater, lover, unsure of how you feel about her. She does her job. She does her job. We're waiting on Terry, the Notary Public. Nap says Bongine just lost 2. Where did it go? Nap says Bongine just lost 2 big cases. You know what, Nappy Yankee? I'm going to have to disagree with that. I'm going to tell you why. So, factually, you're correct. But these cases are putting Bongine on the map. Or Bongine. These cases are putting Bongine. These cases are putting her on the map. I almost called her BJ, but that's a bad idea. These cases are putting her on the map. And remember, let's be real. Did she ever stand a chance in that R.Kelly case? No. I mean, let's be real. This Bill Cosby case, maybe she kind of sort of stood a chance, and that's why this woman only got $500,000 because Bongine did her job. But did she stand a chance in that R. Kelly case? I don't know about that one. I think that one was lost from the beginning. Terry, the Notary Public, I see what happened. You missed the video where we discussed this lawsuit. So you got to go back to the older video so you know what's going on. Hello, T-Bam. How's it going? All right. Kimberly Callahan says, because of the close association with Hefner and because so many women have come out with similar accusations, this case does give validity. Okay, good point. Good point. All right. Sheree Hinger also voted 2. And Diva says Huff deserves more. Well, I want to reserve my opinion on that. Almost said a little more. Yeah, Tara, you don't have to leave us now. You can stay. We like you. But after this, you can go and check that out. Diva says they call her Bojo. Yeah, we'll go with Bojo because I went to call her BJ and I was like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. Nap says, so you admit that her motives weren't exactly pure, yet some of us are inviting her to the cookout. Well, I mean, listen, if they want to invite her to their cookout, hey, I guess, that's on them. But most attorneys take these kinds of cases for notoriety. There's a reason why there are certain types of cases that are not involved in my practice, why I do not touch certain types of cases. So an attorney that's taking a case with R. Kelly as a defendant, Bill Cosby as a defendant, you already know that, of course, it's to put themselves on the map. Of course. Some of them would do it for free because they know they're going to get the publicity. All right, y'all. Do we have any questions on Bill Cosby? If you got a question about Bill Cosby, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to ease on down the road to a man, some would say, well, not some would say, he called himself this, the Pied Piper of R&B. He's up next. So unless we have any questions about this Bill Cosby verdict, we're going to ease on down the road to another one of Bojo's clients. R.Kelly goes by many, many names and calls himself many, many names. Take R.Kelly just made a very interesting comment that I'm not going to put. I am not going to put up on the screen. But if you're in the chat, because the initials are those two letters, so it just felt and natural, and then I realized not a good idea. Alrighty, so I don't see any question. Oh Lord, someone's saying something about R. Kelly. So I don't see any questions about Bill Cosby. So that tells me that we're going to ease on down the road to R. Kelly. Hi, Hazel E. How are you? Yeah, you're in time for R. Kelly and then Roe v. Wade. You've only missed Bill Cosby thus far. So let me pull up my one moment, everyone. As I always say, any videos, news clippings, news stories, etc., that are shared in my lives are covered under the fair use exception. Alrighty, so it's for educational purposes. All right, let's get into it.
This just into CNN, disgraced singer R. Kelly has been sentenced to 30 years in prison. He was convicted of 9 counts, including racketeering and sex trafficking charges.
CNN's Gene Casares joins us from outside the courthouse. Get us up to date. What'd you hear?
Well, first of all, the sentencing guidelines allowed to be sentenced up to life in prison. So this is 30 years, and R. Kelly is 55 years old right now. There were 7 victims that stood up in court and gave victim impact statements today. They were all very emotional. They were allowed to direct some of their talking to R. Kelly in general. There was one victim that said, I was sexually exploited 23 years ago. And as the years went on, I kept wondering, why is nothing happening here? And then she turned to R. Kelly and she said, now you're going to understand what it's like to not have your freedom. Another victim said that she truly hopes that all can move on from this, and she prays to God that people can heal. Another victim stood up with her father at the podium, and she said, my father was sexually abused when he was young, and he didn't sexually abuse me. Now, that was in response to the mitigating factors that the defense actually put on. There are documents that have been unsealed in the last few days related to the sexual abuse that R. Kelly had when he was beginning to be 6 years old. It's alleged in those documents that family members, others, family friends started sexually assaulting and abusing him from 6 onward. One relative even began to take pictures of him. And the defense used this to try to mitigate a lifetime sentence for R. Kelly, saying this in part is what caused him to be who he was, and that a forensic psychiatrist determined he was not a pedophile, but it was just a result of the abuse. But in sum, he was convicted of 9 counts here, very serious felonies: sexual exploitation of a child, bribery, and sex trafficking across state lines, forced labor. Back to you.
All right, y'all, I'm not done. I got one more video where we hear, I almost called her 2 letters again, where we hear Bojo talking about the sentence. But before we get to that, let's have a quick conversation about mitigating circumstances. I think we have a teaching moment here. So imagine that I am waving my hands in front of you. Teaching moment, okay? So mitigating circumstances, to mitigate something is to make it less severe, to make it less bad. So what Bojo did is she tried to bring up R. Kelly's past and say, listen, he went through a lot of things in his childhood. He was himself violated as a child, and these things have caused his distorted, intimate behavior as an adult. Now, yes, the court can consider if someone is coming from a background that was challenging or violent or harmful, but it's not as though one cancels out the other, right? So just because someone was assaulted as a child, I use the word, there we go, doesn't mean that now a court will totally say, a court will totally abstain them from all responsibility for them doing the same thing to another child, right? Or you get what I'm saying. So mitigating circumstances are in bits of, I just lost my whole train of thought, are bits and pieces of information that are presented by the defense to try to sway the court in sentencing. And as I said, in this instance, they tried to use that R. Kelly was allegedly an abused child himself. And yes, that is something that the court can consider. But as I said, it's not, this kind of struggle Olympics, right? One does not cancel out the other. Now, Mara Sharice mentioned Aaliyah in the chat. And, I had the thought of wondering if Aaliyah were still, in her physical state here on Earth, what this process would have been like for her. I wonder, would she have been involved with this? Would this have been like a victory for her? Or would this have been traumatizing? Or would she have been on R. Kelly's side and, not okay with him being prosecuted? So let's for a moment have that conversation, because, I love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. And we've cultivated such a safe space full of intelligent people here. And I love to hear what you have to say. Okay. So, you know what? Actually, let's save it for the call-in portion. I'm going to let people call in. So let's save that, actually. We're going to save that. All right. Hazel E said, we did it, baby girl. You got your justice. He won't be able to hurt another child. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Oh, my goodness. Whew. So, y'all, Aaliyah's passing is something that is actually near and dear to my heart, because I was a big Aaliyah fan. And I remember when she passed away. Like, I remember when the news came out that she had passed away, and I was supposed to be heading to school, and I was so upset that day. And, I remember the entire experience. And I remember thinking that she had so much more to offer, that there was like so much more left of her. And it was really sad that we lost her so young. So Kimberly Callahan says, I think Aaliyah would have totally been on the side of the victims. That's possible. That's possible. So let's hear what Bojo had to say about her client being sentenced to 30 years. I like Bojo. Yeah, I like that better than we're going to go with Bojo.
Racketeering charges. Let's listen in.
What he said to you after the sentence was read.
He was just asking for some clarifications about some of the terms and that were read to him. As you all know, Mr. Kelly has some literacy issues, so it's really important for there's a great deal of things that have to be explained in a little more slowly. So,
But in terms of the sentence, how does he feel about the sentence?
well, I mean, obviously he's devastated. 30 years in prison is like a life sentence for him. But at the same time, we knew the government was asking for 25 years. We were prepared for what the judge might impose. So it didn't come as a great big surprise. We were prepared for it, and we are now prepared to fight this appeal. For us, it's just the beginning of the fight, frankly. So we were prepared going in for today, and he's doing okay with it despite it being a fight.
Why did he not want to make
a statement in allocution? That was on advice of counsel. That was on my advice.
Why?
Because he has pending cases. It's obvious. He's got pending cases, and he has a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, and I advised him to invoke that Fifth Amendment right. I promise you, he does want to make a statement. He will make statements eventually, but on the advice of counsel, he remains silent today.
Will you be putting an appeal? That he's not guilty.
How soon will you be putting this appeal? Okay, so the appeal will lay out that the enterprise that was charged, as you will see if you've read my post-trial motions, which you probably have not, our position is this was not a RICO or racketeering act violation. These were isolated events that happened many years ago, and the government simply tried to plead around the statute of limitations to bring it in a RICO.
Now, I had to pause this. I had to hit the pause button because it's one thing to defend your client. And I get that, right? I get that. But are they really going to argue that all of these events that occurred are just isolated events? That there was not a concerted effort to do these things going on? Instead of just saying R.Kelly is innocent, right? Instead of arguing that my client is innocent, are they going to argue that these are all isolated events? That's the argument? I mean, really? Really? So one young lady meets another young lady. One young lady meets R. Kelly, and then magically the second young lady meets R. Kelly as well. And the only link between R. Kelly is those two young ladies, but they're isolated incidents, right? R. Kelly allegedly meets one young lady. He has her with him. And then she is later on seen in videotapes and pictures, but somehow her presence and the creation of said materials are what? Isolated incidents? How is that possible? How is it possible that all of the things that he was charged with are all their own separate incident? Wow. Yeah, Diva, I'd love to see the transcripts because, mind you, I haven't even read the transcripts. And just from my knowledge of the case, this argument it's from outer space. Just argue that your client is innocent and call it a day. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Charge, which was inappropriate. So, I mean, all I can tell you is there was no enterprise. There was no enterprise. It was one man with allegations by a number of women, which doesn't make it an enterprise. And that is why he's not guilty of racketeering.
How many family members?
So again, the argument is not that he did not do these things. Y'all listen to her words. The argument isn't that he's innocent, but rather it's that there was no enterprise. So again, R. Kelly in video with minor. Video with minor is somehow taken from his possession. R. Kelly associate / employee now magically pays someone to get said videotape back. We're supposed to believe those are isolated incidents and that that's not an enterprise at work? I don't even know. Okay, good luck, girl. Let's get back.
You said he was remorseful. What did you mean by that? You said he didn't have to confess, but that he was remorseful.
I said he has regrets and he is sad. Nobody wants to hear what he heard today. He's a human being. He feels when other people are feeling, but that doesn't mean that he's can accept responsibility in the way that the government would like him to and the way other people would like him to, because he disagrees. He is not he disagrees with the characterizations that have been made about him. But that doesn't mean he's not a human being and can't feel something when other people are in pain.
Is his abuser here today? You said that his sister abused him as he was a kid. He has 4 people here today.
Yes, he has a number of friends here today. No, his sister is not here today. He's been estranged from her for quite some time. He has 2 brothers who are fully in support of him, who were also victims of sexual abuse in his household. So they are here in spirit, although not here personally. So no. And
what do you say to people who say he's a predator? Have you had the opportunity to speak to Joyce?
Yes, I speak to Joy regularly, and Joy is just fine. She is sad, but she told him, and she sent me a text message telling him to pray and put it in God's hands. And she loves him, and they're going to get through this. That's what she had to say to him today.
No, he's not.
No, he's not a predator. Anything?
Where's
the other members of the
Jennifer Bonjean, Bonjean.
You've been listening to R. Kelly's lawyers speak after his sentencing to 30 years in prison. He was convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking last year at a trial. His lawyers say they expected this sentence and plan on appealing his conviction in this case. We are going to take a quick break, but we've got a lot more news ahead.
That's right. We are also expecting to hear from.
Oh, I don't know about y'all, but listening to that just made me tired. Mara, we love you. I'm sorry you're triggered. I love you. Have a good night. Should I have issued a trigger? No. I think you guys already knew what was coming with R. Kelly, but I'm sorry, Mara. Wow. Okay. All right, y'all. Now there was a comment here that I specifically wanted to note. So Queen Enchanted says it was the music industry that protected him. He was their cash cow until they dropped him and then the money dried up. Justice finally served. How many of y'all agree with Queen Enchanted that somehow R. Kelly was being protected by the music industry? Give me a Y in the chat if you think Queen is onto something and he was being protected. Give me an N in the chat if you think, no, it just had been enough time that enough evidence had developed. I'm going to monitor that. In the meantime, I want to draw attention to Keep Is Chillin'. What's up, Keep Is Chillin'? Keep Is Chillin' says the 3 ladies standing behind him are R. Kelly groupies. No relation to R. Kelly. Interesting, because Bojo said that those ladies are his sisters. So Bojo is leading us to believe that R. Kelly has family present at these proceedings. And it sounds like maybe he doesn't. However, remember what I said, y'all. There are many instances in which attorneys only have the information provided to them. So if R. Kelly represented these women to be his sisters, Bojo may really think that they are his sisters. Kimberly Callahan says, how would you compare the sentencing of R. Kelly to the sentencing of Ghislaine Maxwell? Well, First of all, it's been curious to me how quiet the whole Ghislaine Maxwell thing was. I mean, the trial was kept under wraps like it was, some top secret national security trial. And then that trial moved so quick, I got whiplash. I mean, from trial to sentencing, that was like 2 seconds flat, right? So very curious. I expected Ghislaine Maxwell to get a decent amount of time because she was a sort of procurer for Epstein, kind of connecting him to a lot of young women. So no surprise there. All right. I am in the chat. Oh, we love you too, Mara. Love her so much. All right, so I see a lot of whys. So a lot of you think that Queen is onto something, that R. Kelly was being protected by the industry because he was generating a lot of money for them. Okay. We have a good question here. Shoot, I lost it. Oh no. It was a really good question. Here we go. So Les Meet has a good question. She says, can his victim sue his label for protecting him? Well, that depends. Now, remember, you can only sue someone with evidence of something. So these victims would need evidence that somehow, I think Sony is his label, right? That somehow Sony was involved in either assisting him with covering up some of the things he did, or ignoring or turning a blind eye to some of the things he did, right? They would have to actually prove that. Now, it's interesting that you asked that question, because I was reminded today that when Aaliyah first came out, you guys remember AJ Nothing But a Number? I was reminded that when Aaliyah came out with that album, I think it was a whole album, right? There was a song, but then there was an album, I think. I was reminded that Aaliyah and R. Kelly were touring together. They were wearing matching outfits. And then the lyrics of the song Age Ain't Nothing But a Number literally say, like age doesn't matter. You can get it on with whoever. I mean, it's fascinating to me in a not so good way that no one said anything back then. All right, so most of you agree. First Lady says they are still protecting some of them now. Take R. Kelly agrees. She says he's not the only one being protected. I am in the chat. Diva Divine Light says Sony needs to be sued. So someone thinks that the label should be sued. Keep Us Chillin' said J-Bo said he had one sister. I could have sworn that she said that his sisters were there. Did I imagine that? Oh, if I did, okay. Okay. Hello, Pretoria Afro. How are you? Pretoria says a combination over here. Okay. First Lady A said they never dropped him. Is that willful blindness? I don't think that's enough. Rockin' with the Truth said they had on matching outfits when he married her. Oh my goodness. Oh, just a mess. Queen Keish says it was just obvious. Right. It seemed very strange to have this 15-year-old girl and this almost 30-year-old man and, matching outfits and the song lyrics, and a lot of it seemed strange. So as I said, it's interesting to me that no one really said anything back then. So let me give you guys an Mac, I'm busy. Thank you. So let me give you all an update on R. Kelly. In case you haven't heard, R. Kelly is now on suicide watch. And Bojo has already ran to his rescue to say that he's not unstable and he doesn't want to hurt himself. And it's cruel and unusual punishment to have him under suicide watch when he doesn't need it. Now, another curious thing, right? she seems very eager to establish that he's not having mental health issues. It seems very important to her that she established that. And honestly, I think they might be cutting off their nose to spite their face here. Would it? Okay, here goes another question. I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to give you the answer, right? Because I like to let you think. Give me a 1 in the chat if you think it could actually be advantageous for R. Kelly to admit that he's allegedly experiencing psychological distress. Give me a 2 in the chat if you think, no, Bojo's doing the right thing to 1 second after it gets released that he's on watch, say that he's perfectly fine. So Hazel E, to my knowledge, it's not every convict. It's more likely when you have someone that is sentenced to a very lengthy sentence. However, there still is supposed to be some level of evaluation. So I lost my word. The psychological evaluation that the prison is supposed to undergo should consider the person's history, how long their prison term is, as well as their current state of mind. So it's not just the automatic. There is supposed to be some level of evaluation being done. Les Mead said one of the girls said they had a suicide pact. Yeah, that would be a cause for alarm. That would definitely be a factor that would go into someone being on suicide watch. Okay, so I see a lot of you are putting up 1s. Okay, so yeah, B Buccaneer, we're calling Bonjean, Bojo. That's what we're going with, okay? Or Jenny B. Jenny from the block, right? Isn't her first name Jennifer? So yes, it's interesting that it's so important to them that they establish that he is not experiencing any psychological distress at all. Maybe that's because they don't want any delay in his upcoming trial. Who knows? But I just find it interesting that that's the battle they're fighting right now, as opposed to getting ready for trial. She's suing MDC. I'm not surprised. Again, this is the battle she's fighting as opposed to getting ready for trial. I'm not judging how she practices. I think she's wonderful. Okay. T-Bam says, right, that's why I pray that Jocelyn go home. Oh, this is another conversation. Okay. Well, apparently Jocelyn's not going home anytime soon because she's fiancée now. Okay, honey. So doesn't sound like she's going home anytime soon. I missed that. It just shows you how closely I'm following Jocelyn. I didn't even know that she was fiancée now. Getting married. Her and Monica should have a little powwow. They both have the interesting experience of having like a lover that is incarcerated long term. SK, listen, I went to call her something, you heard it, and I said, that doesn't sound right. Diva said, where's the ring at? Well, he's going through some financial strain right now, Diva. Okay, so I don't think a ring is a priority for him. Alrighty, so listen, y'all, we still want to discuss Roe v. Wade. Okay, I don't have much more to say about it. I just want to tell y'all to calm down. But I do want to clear up some things because per usual, there is so much dramatics going on online. I don't know if you guys watched Anna Delvey. What's the name of it though? Inventing Anna. Okay. I don't know if you guys watched Inventing Anna, but there's a line by Anna Delvey that I now use all the time. So she stole quite a bit of money from one of her friends, and her friend is so emotional. Her friend is like, please, Anna, I really need that money back. And she is just crying and upset. And Anna says to her with no emotion at all, don't be so dramatic. So now I use that line all the time when someone is like being super ridiculous and dramatic. I just go, don't be so dramatic. So, anywho, let's talk about the dramatics of this Roe v. Wade because it's all so dramatic. Everyone is acting like it is the end of the world and now we're all going to die and the sun is going to plummet towards the earth. So let's clear this up, shall we? Good night, Diva. Let's meet caught it. Listen, let's meet. This is how I know you're meant to be here, right? Let's meet is with me. You gotta catch it. If you caught it, you caught it. Nap says Andrea, Sparkle, and Leah's family should be under the jail with him. I'm gonna reserve comment on the families. Alrighty, so let's talk about Roe v. Wade. I don't have any pictures, articles, anything because it's not needed, okay? As I said when we reviewed the leaked decision, all the Supreme Court is saying is that the state is empowered to make their own decision when it comes to pregnancy termination. What does that mean? That means that yes, each state will get to decide if a woman can terminate a pregnancy in their state and how far along she can be and what the restrictions are on pregnancy termination. Now, remember the pendulum, everyone, as it swings back, so does it swing forth. Okay, it goes one side and it goes to the other side. So while Mississippi can say no pregnancy termination here, right? New York can say you're allowed to terminate up until you give birth. It empowers the state. Okay. So while Georgia can say you can terminate up until there's a heartbeat, right? California can say you can terminate in your last trimester. The pendulum swings both ways, y'all. It is not the sign of, the apocalypse. All it means is that each state has the right to decide how pregnancy termination operates in their state. That's it. All righty. Kimberly Callahan says, can states that are not allowing pregnancy termination prohibit women from traveling to another state for pregnancy termination? No, they cannot. No, they cannot. It is part of your constitutional right. So in your constitutional right to liberty is the right to move about freely and travel. So no, they can control what you do in their state. But let's say you live in Georgia and it got pretty far along and now you want to go to New York, then you can go to New York. It's individual to that state. And you even have companies, y'all, Disney and a bunch of other companies are now saying that if you are a female employee who lives in a state where you cannot terminate your pregnancy, they will pay for you to travel to a state where you can have your termination. Okay. Alrighty. And Rockin' with the Truth says it. There we go. Planned Parenthood is helping to pay for people to travel. The sun is not plummeting towards the earth. Everyone take a deep breath. You have very liberal states that will always have pregnancy termination. And then you have the states that we already knew they're conservative. We already know what to expect from them. And we know that probably there will not be any pregnancy termination there. It is what it is. Okay. All right. So I am going to put the StreamYard link in the chat. I almost said something in patois there. I've been talking to my family a lot, y'all, and then I will sometimes get mixed up. Okay, there goes the link. Come on in the room. As the old church song goes, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on up and talk to me about Aaliyah and, what you think would have happened if she was still here with us. Talk to me about Roe v. Wade and what you personally think about each state now being permitted to make their own decision. Talk to me about Bill Cosby. Do you feel shattered by what has been happening to him lately? Do you think that your memory of him, your image of him has changed? Let's talk. Link is in the chat. All right, we got Queen Enchanted. Queen Enchanted says, regardless of this decision, a woman is going to do what she has to do for herself by any means necessary. Well, that is an accurate point because as we know back in the day, before all of this, they had their ways. Rocking with the truth. Oh, this is a conversation she's having with Queen Enchanted. I don't really think I followed it, so. All right, y'all. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you some time, but if nobody comes backstage, then I am going to head on out, drink my seltzer water, and enjoy the rest of my evening. I wanted to have a glass of wine today, but then I totally forgot, so it never happened. Oh, we have someone backstage. All right. Kim, you need to connect your mic and your cam. Well, you don't need to connect your camera, I don't think, because we're not cammed up. But connect your mic and then I can add you to the stream, Kim. Because right now it says nothing is connected. Okay, I think your microphone is connected. You can disconnect your cam. There we go. All righty, Kim. So I'm going to add you to the stream.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Kim, we can hear you. Welcome. Welcome.
All right. Hi. I'm going to mute my TV.
Yes, you should do
probably
that.
be better. How's everybody?
We are wonderful. How are
Can
you?
everybody
Kim?
hear me?
We can hear you.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Kim, we can hear you.
Let's see.
Oh, hold on. Let me put it in the.
Oh, okay. I see that you guys can hear me. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this brief. Okay. So as far as Bill Cosby is concerned, my attitude towards Bill Cosby is that it doesn't change how I view the characters that he has played on television and in the movies. It does. I am disappointed in the man. I think it's very sad that he had such a wonderful legacy that's now ruined. I just think it's very sad. He was known for donating lots of money to HBCUs, being pro-education, putting folks through school, etc. And now all of that is just gone, and it's such a shame. R.Kelly, what a sad case. Very sad. It's just sad. It's just a shame that he's so talented as far as music is concerned, but he's just messed up in other ways. And I'm sure being molested as a child, contributed to that. But I mean, at this stage of the game, he's 55 years old. He knows better. He knows what he's doing. And I think that he probably needs to be in prison, and he probably needs some long-term psychiatric care. Rest in peace to Aaliyah. I still hate that she's gone because I was an Aaliyah fan too. I enjoy watching her on videos and listening to her music and things like that. So it's rest in peace to Aaliyah. Roe v. Wade. My concern about Roe v. Wade, this recent decision, leaving it up to the states, is that it's not easy for people always to travel from, say, Georgia to Illinois or California or New York or any of these other states that may continue to have legal abortion. A lot of women who find themselves pregnant or who are pregnant are very young, probably don't have means to travel. And I am particularly upset about the idea that a woman who does not have a viable pregnancy will be forced to carry that pregnancy, or a little girl who's raped or molested and gets pregnant will be forced to carry that pregnancy. I think that's inhumane. Um, to force someone in a medical situation or in a situation outside of their control, i.e., being raped or being molested as a child, is going to be forced to carry pregnancy. And I think that's just, I mean, I don't even know why that is even made to be the case. It seems inhumane to me. So those are my opinions, folks. I'm gonna step down now. Thanks.
All righty. Thank you, Kim. So, to Kim's point about Bill Cosby's legacy being tarnished, I think we can all agree that the world on a whole will not view him the same anymore. And not just Bill Cosby. I mean, there are people surrounding him, people around him that are no longer viewed the same. My namesake, Felicia Rashad, beautiful, amazing, classy woman whom I'm named after, she went through some fire there because she wanted to support him and stick by his side, and it hurt her rep. So, not just Bill Cosby, but quite a few people. Now, as to Roe v. Wade, um, many states who may have already or will ban pregnancy termination, many of those states will have exceptions for medical emergencies. So let me say that it is kind of the norm for there to be an exception for medical emergencies. So most of them will not have this kind of hard, no termination at all. There's always been that if a pregnancy is not viable, right? Because that means it's actually no longer a pregnancy because it's not viable. So that's considered to be a medical reason for clearing the woman's uterus, which is actually, by the way, a different procedure from pregnancy termination. So, as I said, most of these states will have a medical carve out for certain situations in which medically certain things have to happen. And also, if the pregnancy is not viable, it is not really considered to be a pregnancy termination. It's more so considered to be what they sometimes refer to as like a D&C, which is a clearing of the woman's uterus. That is different because the pregnancy is already deceased. Okay. I think I've addressed everything that I wanted to address, right? Yeah. So I am back in the chat. Pretoria Afro says, I can't watch his shows the same anymore, especially if he is on the show. Well, as we said, his image is not the same, right? It's not the same. You're welcome for the information, Kimberly. All right, y'all. So oh wait, Rocking with the Truth said something. Rocking with the Truth says, what is this a distraction for? Inquiring face. I don't know if that's what that emoji is called. People have to pay attention. I'm not arguing about pregnancy termination because I believe it's a personal choice. Hey, Fat Boy's in the building. Shout out to OCOV, as I always say, and big shout outs to Fat Boy, aka Clarence. So listen, I'm gonna put this link one more time, and it's 9:11, so I'm gonna hang out till about 9:15-ish, right? And if no one is backstage then I'm gonna head out. My biggest thing with a lot of the things that are occurring socially and with the Supreme Court and all those things, my biggest thing is for us all to keep our heads on. And that's why I try to come on here and say, everyone, calm down, just keep your heads on. Keep your heads on. Try to be logical, rational, reasonable about the way that you interpret and approach these things. All right. Knapp says, keep in mind, Cosby probably has more white supporters than black ones. Ain't no conspiracy. Knapp's always coming through with the poignant commentary. Did I put oh yes, I did. Okay, the link is in the chat. But yes, I mean, it's been interesting for me, especially as a woman, right? Kind of seeing the dialogue that's being had and the back and forth. And I know that there were a lot of protests after the decision and a lot of women that were very, very shaken and upset by it. And, it's always difficult to see people upset about things, which is why I always try to say, hey, everybody, let's try our best to keep our heads on, you know? Nappy Yankee is backstage. All right, Nappy, I'm adding you
All
to the
right.
chat.
What's
Welcome.
going on? You hear me okay? Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Let me put in the chat that we can hear you.
All right.
I know you
Yeah,
may not have your volume up.
yeah, just two things. That is true. Regarding Bill Cosby, because I'm just, I don't know, people, I'm not even going to get into the hypocrisy or anything about him, but basically people are thinking that he is going up against white supremacy or the system and blah blah blah. I just can't with these celebrities talking about how they're going up against the system. If you look through social media, even if you look through YouTube or Twitter, a bunch of whites are saying that he did get railroaded in a way, but he helped lay the tracks. But he had a ton of white support. People are trying to make it like, oh, it's whites want him in jail, and I mean, people notice. Listen, I'm not saying what he did was right. I do think that he did those things at the Playboy Mansion. I mean, what else are they doing over there? But it was 40 or so years. You know, this is what people are saying. Like, yeah, but 45 years or what have you. This is what white people are saying. So they're not all against him. I'm just tired of hearing that. And also, can black folks, can y'all please stop doing this? Can you stop saying that now that some celebrity got hemmed up, that that means that that's like a that means that they're gonna come after us now? They've been coming after us. They didn't. It did. Nothing had to happen to Cosby for them to say, oh well, now they're really gonna come after us. I mean, we're not. This isn't. People are trying to. I don't know. There's some black folks who are trying to make it like, um, there's a drama going outside in the car, but yeah, some people are trying to make this like, oh, now that Cosby's going to prison, more people are going to go to prison, and this is kind of like what we're going through. No, we don't. The average black man can't go through high price lawyer on top of high price lawyer to defend them. All right, this is not the same thing, and I just wish we quit waiting on celebrities to determine what our life is like. This is something totally different. That's them, and this is our life is different. That's all. That's basically what I had to say.
Well, before I even dive into your commentary, I have to say that Kimberly Callahan would like you to know that you are her favorite YouTube voice.
Well, tell her thank you.
And Nap says thank you. And as I always say, whenever Nap comes on stage, it's always a bunch of I'm despised. I'm surprised it's only one woman today because usually it's a bunch of women in the chat like, oh, Nappy, thank you.
Well, thank
Right?
you so much.
I'm really surprised that today it's only one lady. But apparently they really like your voice. So you should take that as a
I,
compliment.
I do, and the name change is only the beginning. So look forward to bigger things coming ahead.
Oh,
Big thing,
absolutely.
yeah, big things are going.
Well, we're excited for that. We're excited to see what you come up with and where you're headed.
Yeah,
So, so to your point about Bill Cosby being, not your average Joe, right? And a celebrity who obviously has a totally different lifestyle, right? Let me say this to that. Do you know, and by you, I mean everyone in the chat, right? And Naps, you could answer this as well. Do you know a man who has 24/7 access to a place like the Playboy Mansion? Ask
no,
yourself, do you know a man who could show up at your home or at your job, take your 16-year-old child, right? Because you would trust him enough and he would have some valid reason to have your child. Because remember, she was not released to go and party. She was doing some sort of internship or something like that. Okay,
yep.
so do you know a man who has that kind of power over people that he could disarm them that way, take their 16-year-old child, and then have somewhere like the Playboy Mansion to go and take them? Do you ask yourself? Because if you can say yes to those questions, then you can say that somehow what is happening to Bill Cosby is relatable to the average man. But if your answer to those questions are no, then you know that Naps is onto something with his commentary.
It's not just that, and that's another thing that comes up. Oh, what was a 16-year-old doing there? And yeah, yes, I understand that. You've already gone over what low life Hugh Hefner was. Yes, I understand that, and that is Hollywood. That's Hollywood in general and what goes on over there. But at the same time, a 16-year-old, which 9 times out of 10, it's a minor. So you decided to go ahead and have, allegedly have relations with the 16-year-old anyways. All right. And men do like variety. All right. I doubt that this was just, again, I was saying allegedly. I doubt it was just one. All right. I've always said that the 60 women that accused Cosby, 60 given how long he's been rich, how long he's been famous, how long he's been a notable, that's a very low number. Okay. Because most women, if they've been violated like that, they're not going to come out and admit it. So 60 is a fairly low number. So I just think that, it's not relatable. All right. What you guys are saying. And by the way, let me ask you something. Cosby he never stays for the sentencing. He never speaks to the media. He's always speaking through that black guy who you saw. That was a PR guy. How much does that hurt him, the fact that he doesn't open his mouth at all? And if you're going to say, by the way, that it's because he may incriminate himself, then what are we talking about that he's innocent? So how much does that affect him that he never opens his mouth at all?
So that's an interesting question. Now, as Nappy Yankee said, he has the right, with my lawyer hat on, he has the right to stay silent because, yes, he could incriminate himself. And we cannot use that against him, right? With my lawyer hat on. But now with my common sense hat on, yes, Naps is correct that insinuates that there's something you could say that would incriminate you, right? That's kind of the insinuation there. And someone wants to compare that to R.Kelly not saying anything. R.Kelly's situation is different because he has a criminal trial coming up. So it makes a lot more sense for him to not say anything.
Yeah. And with R.Kelly, let me just say this. Listen, after he married Aaliyah, the thing with him is that at some point you think that he would just at least move a little smarter. Like the Vibe magazine article with the marriage certificate to Aaliyah. All right. You think that he'd start doing things a little bit different. Then the tape with the 13-year-old girl, in which he, did what he did to the 13-year-old girl on tape. After that, by the way, because I used to be a guy who I always bought R. Kelly records. All right. Until that happened. And when that happened, I stopped listening to R. Kelly's stuff. Now, he's put out some classic stuff. And if we sit down and start judging everybody based on what they do, in behind closed doors, we're going to be, and we're going to base on who we listen to based on that. We're going to just be resorted to snapping our fingers and whistling and tapping our feet, because a lot of these people that we listen, it's true. A lot of these people we listen to, I can go down the list. Some of your favorites, all right, they've been in some really, really, it would make R. Kelly seem like a choir boy. All right. So, and I listen to a lot of music and I know a lot of their stories. So yeah, he's not the first and he's not the last. But once you do that, you think he'd at least move a little bit differently. But he didn't. This is why people are trying to say, oh, well, he's getting railroaded because of this. My personal opinion, after you after you did what you did to that 13-year-old black girl, that should be like, I don't care what they do to you. That's my opinion, right? But with him, he just didn't move differently. And he clearly felt after he got off from that, he probably thought, yo, I can do anything, whatever. You know, so when I see him crying on TV and when I see the look on his face in the courtroom like he's going to cry, I don't feel sorry for him. Now, I do think he needs help. I do think that he should get some therapy, but I don't think that he should be on this side of the I don't think he should be free. I think that he's gotta stay in prison or stay. I really don't think he's good for the outside world at this point. And I believe that. Do you believe that other people are going to go down with him?
Yes, I think there is more to come. I would be
Yeah.
surprised if there wasn't more to come.
There's,
Oh my
yeah, I think he's getting impatient. The
Mac,
thing with
Mac is, I think Mac is agreeing with us. He's agreeing.
and the thing with this, with a case like this, with so many victims, there was a case in Jamaica with this just recently, with this pastor. He was running a cult, like a big time pastor in Montego Bay. He was running a cult, and he just, like a couple of months ago, and I spoke in this where, you know, he was doing a ceremony where he was chopping off heads literally. And so I guess they decided to arrest him, and he ended up dead like the next day or so, because keep in mind, he was a big mega pastor. He rubbed noses with a lot of big time politicians down there, and somehow he magically dies. I think he might have knocked him off. I have a feeling that's something I can see happening to Kels. All right. I'm not wishing it, but I'm just saying that just based on how many people were probably involved, because there's no way he did this by himself. All right. And when you think of all the other people who, you know, enabled it, I really think he's going to start singing pretty soon.
It's possible. You know, it's possible. And I think with this upcoming trial that he has in Illinois, you know, let's say that he continues to appeal because he's a man of some means, so he can afford to continue to appeal.
Right.
Even with him continuing to appeal, just the amount of time that it would take to exhaust those appeals, which it doesn't look like he has a good chance at winning any of them, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is looking at probably spending the rest of his life in prison.
Now, let me ask you this. You mentioned that this woman, Bonjour or Mrs. BJ, but you mentioned that she probably took this case because she wanted notoriety. Well, Johnny Cochran took the OJ case. He didn't make any money off that case. All right. But a good lawyer, and tell me if you agree with this, they will take a case if there is some reasonable doubt. All right. Johnny Cochran, if I remember right, he didn't really jump on the case and take the lead of that case until with Mark Furman, he realized that, wait a minute, you know, and he found, and he started, and when he saw that there was some sort of reasonable doubt, then he jumped on it, because good cases take cases that they know they can win, right? So why would she take a case looking at what was stacked up against her? Why would she take these cases knowing that there's a good chance that she may lose? I mean, it's the notoriety. Why do it for the notoriety when the fact is there's a good chance you're going to lose?
So you're thinking in terms of the Johnny Cochran days of the legal practice.
Yeah.
And I hate to tell you that those days are over. Okay. These days are all about clout. So nowadays, people want attention, spotlight, and clout. I guarantee you, Bojo will get much business from these two losses, because people who review these cases will say exactly what I said. They were tough cases. She fought really hard, and she did a pretty good job. So she will get notoriety and clients from what someone else would consider to be a loss. And that's what the game is all about now. It's money generation, clout generation, right? It's not necessarily trying to be a good attorney or have a good win to loss rate. No one even really cares about that anymore. I mean, I can't even think about the last time that I heard an attorney even discuss their like win to loss ratio. It's all clout and bringing in income now.
That's not good hearing it from a client's perspective. It's like, okay, I'm accused of murdering 50 people, and you're just going to take it knowing that the odds are stacked against me. You're just taking it for clout. I mean, why am I even hiring you then if that's the case? That's bad, man. That really is.
Yeah, that's where we are. A lot of people will take cases for notoriety. But I mean, Bojo did her best, though. It's not as though she took it for clout and then didn't work. She
Right.
works, you know?
Right.
So she took it for clout, probably,
Mhm.
maybe, allegedly. I have to say that.
Right. Hmm.
But she worked pretty hard. You know,
Right.
do I personally agree with some of her tactics? Maybe not,
Right.
but she worked pretty hard.
Wow. Just two things, and I'll roll with Roe v. Wade. I don't know if you're gonna go into detail. The woman in the Roe v. Wade, she made up all that stuff. That of why of the story behind the case, right? The late,
Wow. I did not
yeah.
know that.
Yeah, she what's his name? There's another YouTuber, Psychopathist. He's in one of my members. If you go there, he broke it down. I'm like, I didn't even know. So this was basically something political that I mean I just this is really just something that was all about politics. And
Mm.
regarding your girl, Felicia Rashad, all right, who is really, listen, they can call her queen mother all they want and all this other crap. The reason she's doing it is not for any sort of, she's doing it for clout herself. She wants to be, it's not about Cosby's, it's about her legacy. She wants to be seen as, the official black TV mother image. That's all this is. So I don't think it's for Cosby's legacy or anything like that. And again, she, to me, whatever, she can. But when you hear people like turning her into queen mother and stuff, she's simply doing it for her legacy. It's not for Cosby's legacy at all. But yeah, man, I just think that right there is just what she's doing is lame.
Hmm.
Yeah, man.
I never even
So
considered that it could be for her own legacy. I never thought of that. But you're right. Her legacy is tied into the Cosby Show.
all you know her about is all you know her for is Clear Huxtable. Let's just keep it a
Yeah.
buck. You don't know her for her singing career or any other stuff she's done. She's Clear Huxtable, and she was married to Ahmad Rashad at one point. But please, that's the reason she's doing what she's doing. But I'll still listen. Like I said, I'll pre what Kells did before that, what he did to that 13-year-old girl. I'll listen to his music at any wedding. Let's face it, you're gonna hear "Step in the Name of Love" and all that other stuff. So I mean, his music is not going to die. He's made some classics. Bill Cosby, The Cosby Show, The Different World, and Fat Albert. I can make the separation between, Cliff Huxtable and Bill Cosby, the person. I can make the distinction. So I don't look at people like that. I think that people who look at these celebrities and put them in and think that they're actors. They're all actors, and they have the same sort of vices that you do. They just have more money. And to the people out there who are saying that Cosby didn't do it, I know that Cosby did it. You know why I think Cosby did it? Because if you were given a bunch of money, and I'm not saying that you go out and abuse women, but think of the biggest vice that you have. It could be food, it could be women, it could be guys, it could be shopping. You'd probably do the same thing. His vice obviously was, I mean, he's said out of his own mouth, he's been doing this type of thing since he was 11, 12, right? And maybe something might have happened to him when he was younger. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, all he is just the person he is with a lot of money. So yeah, man, people, these conspirators and celebritars, they just drive me nuts, man. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Thanks for having me up.
Well, thank you for coming backstage, Naps. We always
Yeah,
love
man.
to have you here on Empowered Esquire
Hmm.
TV. It's always a pleasure. And we look forward to what you got coming up.
Yeah, man. Stay tuned and peace, chat, and thank you.
All righty. All right, folks. Well, listen, it's 9:32. You know, it's well past my bedtime. And so I'm going to say this. You are really a special group of people. I enjoy being able to come onto YouTube, come into this space, and just chop it up with you. All right. And so I hope you feel empowered by the legal information, the legal knowledge, and the titillating conversation that we had today. You bring something unique to this world, to this channel, to my life, and I love you for it. All right. Do not forget that. I'll see you around. Oh, replay gang gang. Drop some comments below. We need to know what you think about this Bill Cosby lawsuit. I mean, 1975, that's a long time ago. Do you feel that that's somehow unconstitutional? Let us know. What do you think about this R. Kelly sentence? Do you think he'll ever succeed on appeal? And give me your thoughts on Roe v. Wade. All right. See you all later.